Richemont has opened its books. The luxury goods group has reported a 1% increase in first quarter sales at constant currency rates. That's as the group recorded growth across all regions except for Asia Pacific, but sales were down 1% at actual exchange rates. The firm says this is due to demanding comparatives in the prior year period. The owner of brands such as Cartier, Van Cleef and Arpels has stated that its sales picture shows the group's resilience in an uncertain macroeconomic environment and geopolitical environment. The makeup of Virgin Active's leadership could be changed. The health club chain currently has no black directors, but its owner, Brait, says that the possible listing of the gym company could change that. That's as the firm casts a critical eye over Virgin Active's board before a potential IPO. The plan is for Virgin Active to inherit Brait's primary listing on the Luxembourg Stock Exchange and its secondary listing on the JSE. Discovery Life has seen a pickup in demand for its Dollar Life products, and it expects those to account for about 10% of its total book's annual premium income by 2025. That's as more South Africans are buying life insurance that pays out in dollars. Over the past decade, premium income from the group's Dollar Life plan has averaged growth of more than 20% per year. Discoveries pointed to an increase in South Africans considering offshore planning and a higher proportion of clients opting for coverage in US dollars. Trade conditions remain depressed, but there has been improvement. Psyche's Trade Activity Index for June shows that 47 of respondents are positive about prevailing conditions. This indicates that the index is still in negative territory, but it is the best level this year, and indications are that conditions will improve. That's as 55% of respondents expect the trading environment to be better in 6 months' time. Positivity around the outcome of the national elections and the formation of the Government of National Unity have supported the improvement in that index. Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality has come under scrutiny. The Special Investigating Unit is set to investigate allegations of serious maladministration there. It will look into alleged unlawful conduct by municipal employees and recover financial losses connected to a dodgy contract to supply streetlights. The municipality's executive mayor says his office was not approached regarding this matter, but will give its full support when the SIU deems it necessary to approach it for assistance. Further afield, Apple shares hit a record high after Morgan Stanley raised its price target and named the stock a top pick, highlighting the company's AI efforts that boost device sales. More details in this package report.
Apple shares rose 2.5% after Morgan Stanley called the iPhone maker a top pick. Analysts there cited the tech giant's move to roll out AI features. The firm last month unveiled what it called Apple Intelligence.
It draws on your personal context to give you intelligence that's most helpful and relevant for you.
Industry watchers see it as a bid to catch up with rivals Google and Microsoft, which are seen as ahead in the race to use AI. Morgan Stanley said the technology should be a big catalyst for sales if it lures customers into getting new gadgets. Analysts at the bank say only around 8% of current Apple devices are compatible, creating the possibility for a surge in upgrades by consumers. Morgan Stanley raised its forecast for iPhone sales as a result. Apple shares are now up around a fifth this year. The gains have seen it vie with Microsoft and chipmaker Nvidia for the title of world's most valuable firm. All the buzz around AI has also lifted hopes that the overall smartphone market will revive this year, with Apple and rival Samsung seen as top winners from any upturn.
And top EU officials say they will boycott meetings hosted by Hungary after the country's prime minister was reported to have met with Russia and China. Let's cross over to our reporter Anati Ndevu for more. Anati? That's right, Dowling. Top EU officials have announced that they will not be attending meetings hosted by Hungary. And as you mentioned there, this decision comes after the Prime Minister's recent meetings with Russia and China about Ukraine, which of course has upset his European counterparts. With us now, though, to provide more insight on this is Deutsche Welle's correspondent, Emily Leshner. Emily, thank you so much for your time. Now, we know that this boycotting decision is on the back of recent discussions about Ukraine, but what about it? What are the actual reasons?
Hi, thanks for having me. Well, they're upset. The EU is upset because they say they had not been informed of Orban's plans to hold meetings about Ukraine with Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. Orban says that he's on a peace mission that is aimed at bringing an end to the war in Ukraine. But the EU really sees this as a move that undermines EU unity and security. I mean, Orban was recently made president of the European Union, which it's a rotating 6-month role, and it's expected that he coordinate or at the very least inform members of talks of this significance. So these rogue meetings are seen as a breach of EU treaty, and this is why the executive arm of the European Commission says it's engaging in a partial boycott of the presidency by only going to send high-ranking officials to informal meetings. So this means that Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will not be present at any formal meetings hosted by Hungary. And last week, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, and Poland, countries that are on or very close to the Russian border, also said they would not be sending their ministers to any meetings that were linked to Hungary's EU presidency in protest of Orban's talks with Putin.
And Emily, why is Orban making decisions that are arguably antagonistic to the EU?
Well, Orban is pro-Russia, and he's always exhibited this adversarial posture towards the EU. He's repeatedly rejected calls from the West to sever economic ties with Moscow, and now Hungary is the biggest consumer of Russian energy in the EU. He's also criticized EU sanctions on Russia. He's blocked financial assistance to Ukraine. And Orban really has gone against the European mainstream by refusing to supply Kyiv with weapons. I mean, Hungary has long argued for an immediate ceasefire and peace negotiations with Ukraine, but it hasn't exactly outlined what that would look like. And Orban's even delayed a ratification of Sweden's accession to NATO, so this type of behavior perhaps is not so surprising. I mean, Orban wants to be the bridge between Russia and the West, between China and the West, though antagonizing the EU is certainly not going to do much to place him in that position.
And does Hungary hold any significant influence over policies regarding Russia, Ukraine, or even China?
No, I mean, even as, you know, as Hungary, with Hungary as a president of the EU, the European Commission, he really can't make any decisions on his own. I mean, he can steer the agenda in a certain direction, but he doesn't have any unchecked power. The Council still has to sign off on almost all EU policy. And when it comes to some of the most sensitive issues like the war in Ukraine, for example, it has to do this anonymously. There is a complicated majority voting process that he has to go through, or that the European Council has to go through before it can enact any new rules.
Emily, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for those updates. That was DW's Emily Leshner.